I am so tired of trying to record this. Hey everybody, this is your pal Patrick. I'm back with another video, and today, for the umpteenth time, I'm trying to show you my process in creating my very own custom keycap. Let's hope I can do it without making any more problems or making any more mistakes. Here's why I want to do this. The church that I attend does regular Sunday sermon streamings. We use OBS to stream to YouTube, and we use a program called Proclaim to manage the slides. We have lower thirds for the lyrics of songs so that people can join in online when we do praise and worship. We have announcement slides. We have slides for scriptures that are being read by our pastor while he's preaching, and we have slides for lower thirds talking points that our pastor will mention as he preaches. I want to be able to just concentrate on clicking in Proclaim while I just hit, a shortcut key on the Stream Deck, a cheap Stream Deck. That's what I'm aiming for, to switch in between scenes and to activate individual animated lower thirds for informative purposes, rather than trying to click the slides and going into OBS and clicking the scene and then clicking out of the scene and to another scene, to camera and blah 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 and yada yada blah, 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 blah. I don't want to do that. I mean, it's not hard at all, but I figure there's an easy way to do it. And I found this beautiful macro keyboard made by Rudolfo. I'm just going to say his first name. I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to get in trouble with PII. But if you go to Thingiverse and look up keypad, the number 4, teams, keypad 4 teams, all one word, underscore MK2, Mach 2, or Mark 2, you will find this absolutely beautiful Stream Deck. I'm sorry, macro keyboard. And this macro keyboard is designed around a Pi Pico, which is perfect because that's what I was going to use. Here's the problem with this Stream Deck, though. I can't just print it as is because there are a bunch of icons on the caps that don't work for us. In addition to that, we have way too many keys here that we won't be using. So I've decided, after trying to mess with this and export what I can use and everything and not being able to do it, what I'm going to do is just recreate certain aspects of this and use what I've recreated. So I'm going to keep this. Well, I'm going to keep everything else, but these are the two things that I'm going to change. This portion here, where I close up these 3 holes, so that these 3 holes house the keys that will control the scenes, and these 2 holes will control the animated lower thirds individually, separately. Because I could not export this and use it at will for my purposes, what I wound up doing was I took this and recreated this keycap. Now keep in mind, I wasn't able to get this to look as sexy as this one. You notice that it's nice and curved here, and the sides are curved. It's a beautiful keycap. You flip it over and you've got this nice stem that's just long enough, and there's a fillet in there that I believe the fillet in there is designed to give it some additional strength, when you're using it. Well, what I did was I just went in here and I used the inspect tool, and I made sure that I got all of the different measurements concerning this stem. I wanted to make sure that I had everything right. What is that? No, I'm sorry. That's not right. There we go, So I went through there. I made sure that I understood that, the stem here measurements, I understood what those measurements were to make sure that it would fit. As long as they've got these measurements, I know it's going to fit. One thing about 3D printing, you have to account for shrinkage on the prints. And I think that's what this guy's done because everything fits perfectly. Seems like the sweet spot is when you're making a hole, like in this case, it is 0.2 bigger than what you actually need. I've printed a few things with that rule set, and it seems to work beautifully. So there's that. So I made sure that I understood what the dimensions were for this, and I understood what the dimensions were for this. I didn't actually need to get the fillet on this, but I went ahead and I got the fillet too. I went ahead and I got this. I think this is 1 millimeter. I keep trying to say megapixel. Radius 1 millimeter. Okay, so I went into Fusion 360 and created my own keycap. And let me show you how I did that. I'm going to try to talk as fast as I can. So what you're looking at is the final body. As you can see, it's not as sexy as the other one, but I was going for function with a smidge of form. I wasn't going for sexy. I don't need sexy to work. I like sexy, but it's not necessary, especially since I didn't know how to make this sexy. If you look at the bottom, you can see my handiwork here, and I think I made the stem too long. I'm pretty sure I did, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. Here is how I did it. Let's move all the way back. Let's go back in time to the very first sketch. And these are still measurements that I got from the keycap from that one guy's macro keyboard. 18, and it's a square. I know, from what I understand, keycaps are slightly more of a rectangle, but I didn't care. This is 18 millimeters, so this is a square. I got the information. I did a plane offset. Ah, that just jumped all the way. There we go. So I did a plane offset so that I could create the next sketch. That one is 14. Now the wall here is 0.5. I was trying to make walls, but I couldn't get the loft to work the way I wanted it to without having to do extra work, and I didn't want to do extra work. So this is really for naught. I did the loft. Come on now. Oh, I gotta get out of there. I did the loft, and that gave me this body. This is where I attempted sexy. Put in the fillets where they ought to go. Very good. Now, to make the shell. Remember, I couldn't just create the form, if you will, with the walls. I couldn't create the walls. I actually had to create a solid chunk, as you can see here. What I wound up doing was copying that form to make the second body. Now, if it doesn't matter which one I show, they're the same size. Of course, it's a copy. And then I shrunk it. So now we have a much, did I shrink it? Oh no, I moved it down. That's right. I moved it down, so as you can see, it's lower, which gave me the 0.5 millimeter thickness at the top. That's what I was going for at first. I think I still have that. No, I don't. I don't. But I messed up the print, and I'll show you why in a little bit. I moved it down. When I realized the print wouldn't work, I changed it up by changing the size of the second body to a smaller size. Uh-oh, where are you? Come on now. Show me. What do I need? Oh, right. So let's move it here, and let's say, oh wait, I don't want to look at that yet. Now it's smaller. I shifted it over, shifted it. I think that's right. We're at 10 minutes, so let me speed up. I shifted over, I moved it, and I kind of eyeballed the center of it. So I'm a little off. I was trying to get 1.2 millimeter thickness on all sides, and I didn't quite get that. I got 1.3 on two of the sides and 0.8 on the other two. It's a little off. That's fine. If we look at the front, we'll see that we've got, it's a little thicker on the top. That's fine. I keep going, and I selected the join option so that I could use the second body to cut out the waist and make the shell. From that point, I started a new sketch on this surface here. I'm going to leave it at that view, and I'm going to show you the other sketch. There it is. That's the start of the stem. I made the stem. I centered it where it needed to be. I did everything to make sure that it was right. Then I extruded it. So there it is. I added another sketch, which is that sketch there. Now you'll notice that this overlaps. I used the measurements that I got from the keycap that I was using as a reference, and I extruded that to make that. And then I went and attempted to get a little sexy again. I put a fillet around the edges. I think those are 1. So let's see. Yep, the radius is 1, so I kept that. I figured, why reinvent the wheel? I didn't like how tall this was, so I decided to chop it down just a smidge. I went and I created a new sketch, but I didn't draw anything. I proceeded to raise the plane up from that sketch to that height there, and then I split the body. And when I split the body, I got a much shorter. Now, what did I move that to? I think it's 1.5 millimeters. I'm not sure. I can't exactly remember how high I lifted it, but I think it's 1.5 millimeters. Yep, 1.5 millimeters. So I lifted it 1.5 millimeters. I proceeded to split the body. Let me go ahead and put that other thing. You can see the stems there, and that cut into a little bit of the stem, which gives me the final product. Nice and semi-sexy. Again, I wasn't going for sexy, I was going for function. And that's how I did it. And that gave me this bad boy. This little ugly thing. Now, you can't see it. Maybe you can, actually. Yeah. See that bottom layer? Oh, it's awful. But the rest of it printed okay. I was able to get this to work just fine. It fits. No problem. I love it. Of course, it's not pretty. And I can use Fusion 360 to add an SVG file and put my own custom icon indicator thingamabobbers. Actually, I went into Inkscape and created some. I might go into a video of those, maybe not, but I will have a video of the completed project. But you remember that I talked about trying to make the walls 0.519 or 5.8, something like that. Well, because my print nozzle is 0.6, this was the product. My 3D printer said, no, you weren't serious. Yeah, I'm not going to print that. I'm just going to print the corners because those are thick enough for me to print. But you weren't serious about the walls of this thing. And of course, those broke off over time. But when I printed it, I said, well, let me at least try it and see if it fits. And, oh, wait, turn it the other way. It fits. That's it, everybody. If I can get this crazy thing to work the way I want it to, the crazy 3D printer, then that'll be good. If I can't, well, then I might have to find another way to produce these. That's it. Thank you so much for watching this, everybody. I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate you sitting here and listening to me ramble and, The lack of professionalism in the quality of this, I know it's terrible, but I'm working with what I got. Thank you for watching it. If you liked it, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and make some comments in there. If you have any suggestions about how I can fix a 3D printer, because it just feels like the plate is bowed. I don't know. I checked it. It's fine. I don't know what's going on. But if you have any suggestions, I'm all ears or all eyes, as it were, because I'm going to be reading your comments. And with that, thank you so much for watching. And you guys have a great rest of your day. God bless you all. Bye for now.